Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I did not see you there. Whew. Just during quarantine, all I've been doing is reading about this really awesome game that these kids, they're designing it. It's called the Isle of Doubt. And this game, the Isle of Doubt, is a territorial game in which players move across a board in an attempt to solve challenges. Challenges, crazy, right? That are left behind by a broken civilization. It gets crazier. It gets crazier. Players build a path with blocks that are given to them that lead them to the acquisition of prompt cards. Get out of here. These prompt cards allow the player to unravel the history of the lost civilization. I gotta go. I gotta keep finding out what happens in this game.
Sorry, was someone speaking to me? Oh, right. Oh, things that we found along the way. True that. So, initially, when we got this game that these kids were working on, they had these blocks that they were working with, but then stuff happens, life happens, they lost the blocks. So, it was very difficult to adapt a game without the blocks anymore. Therefore, it was prompted that cards needed to be adapted into the game. That was something that we found. Another thing that they found was how to incorporate meaningful language from the broken pieces of language and put them together to make sense, and how to make sense of that on write-in and implement it correctly into the game. Another issue that came in was smoother transitions from player to player. You know, like you finish your turn, you want to make sure that the other person gets to go in a nice, smooth, effective way. Another issue that was, brought up and found was that cards weren't solely working with game because, the blocks they needed to be implemented as part of the game as an essential game asset. So some things worked, some things didn't, some things came back around, and it all eventually worked. And another thing, the last thing, the time restraints caused this group to, not use certain suggestions such as write in words or symbols on the actual faces of the block, because that just created a different dynamic, and piecing it together would have just been a little bit more difficult and didn't work out. But, we came up with something even better in the end. That's all for me. Back to it now.
Some key improvements that we made after getting rid of the construction element. Block assets were repurposed as a means of showing progress across the board and inhibiting other challengers' progress. The introduction of elemental tiles created a replayability through creating infinite amount of potential interpretations. With the endgame stone, the introduction of the oceanic map is more in keeping with our original theme. And that's it for key improvements.
I didn't notice it was my turn because I was too busy playing my knives. Well, they're pretty ambitious, you see, because if they had the funding, they would try to create an immersive experience where instead of players working on a board, they would be in a virtual world. The blocks would instead be a path that would change with every decision the player makes, winding through the various islands in the world, all while trying to make it to the central island. Through this journey, the completion of the prompts is how the player would progress. They're pretty ambitious. Ouch. What?
Yay!
And that was the Isle of Doubt.